I'm Jaden Jefferson, and this is a Saturday news brief for September 6th, 2025. On Thursday, Health and Human Services Secretary Robert F. Kennedy Jr. testified during a Senate Finance Committee hearing. His testimony followed the firing of Centers for Disease Control and Prevention Director Susan Menarez and the several resignations that came after. He faced tough questions from not only Democrats, but two Republicans on the committee, who happen to be physicians. Kennedy has been a source of concern for many in the medical community, particularly for his stance on vaccines. He often makes unproven claims, including during this hearing, in which he said that the CDC was corrupt. Kennedy also falsely claimed there was no available data on deaths stemming from COVID-19, when the CDC actually provides that data on its website. Friday, President Trump signed an executive order to return the Department of Defense to its original name, the Department of War. While this cannot be done by executive order alone, as an act of Congress is required, the EO does call for the new name to be used in executive branch documents, correspondence, and public communication. As for why this new old name was resurrected, the executive order says, quote, "It demonstrates our ability and willingness to fight and win wars on behalf of our nation at a moment's notice, not just to defend," end quote. The change comes amid questions over a Tuesday morning strike at the direction of President Trump on what his administration alleges was a boat transporting narcotics to the United States. It happened in the Southern Caribbean, according to a post on X by Secretary of State Marco Rubio. He claims the vessel belonged to, quote, "a narco-terrorist organization." The Department of Defense says 11 people on board were killed. However, the DoD has not offered up much clarity on this strike, with the exception of video it released of the hit. French President Emmanuel Macron said Thursday that 26 countries have agreed to deploy troops to Ukraine as part of a, quote, "reassurance force." And now we're hearing from Russian President Vladimir Putin. Friday, Putin said during an Eastern Economic Forum panel that, quote, "if any troops appear there, especially now while fighting is ongoing, we assume that they will be legitimate targets," end quote. This according to Associated Press reporting. Putin and the Kremlin have long opposed NATO membership for Ukraine, but this effort of its Western allies to provide security guarantees for the country was thought to be a compromise. The August jobs report was released Friday. The Bureau of Labor Statistics data showed that 22,000 jobs were added last month, with the unemployment rate up slightly at 4.3%. The numbers represent the continuation of a hiring slowdown in the country, as June's figure of an additional 14,000 jobs was revised down to a loss of 13,000 jobs. More headlines on X, formerly Twitter, Instagram, and Threads at Jaden, Jaden_reports, and on Facebook under Jaden Jefferson Reports.